All right, so the Houston Rockets just lost in the second round. Nope, the first round as the second seed. They had a very good regular season. I think maybe we were some of the higher people on Houston, I would say, even though we didn't even see this out of the Houston Rockets this past season. Um, I think their avenues to improve are very obvious. They are a team that has a ton of draft capital. We can get into that as we maybe go into, mocking any trades for them potentially. Where are the areas that we think Houston needs to improve their roster?
I think consistency in the backcourt for sure. Um, I think Van Vliet during the playoffs, during that Golden State series, he definitely stepped up and was huge for them. Um, but he averaged 14 points a game this year off of 34% shooting. That is not the Fred VanVleet we know. And then obviously the elephant in the room, I think, is the one that you have talked about since the moment we started this podcast and started covering the Rockets, and that's Jalen Green. What are they going to do with Jalen Green, Pat? I'm sure you have some ideas. I think he could be packaged in a little trade with KD for KD, along with Jabari Smith and Cam Whitmore, um, and a couple picks. So yeah, I mean, their center, their bigs, they really need to. I think a huge piece would be re-signing Steven Adams. He was incredible for them the whole season, especially on the offensive glass, and he was huge during that Golden State series as well. I think that'd be huge. Him and Sengun, like you said, you've been talking about it the past couple of weeks with the double big lineup has been working really well with them. Um, so yeah, I think what they because they have depth, Pat. They have the youth, they have the stars. I think, and they were the second seed. But yeah, I think Jalen Green is a big question mark heading into this offseason.
Yeah, I agree. I think Steven Adams re-signing is key for them. Like, don't even let him hit free agency. Go ahead and give him that extension. I don't know how much it's going to be for. Maybe it's 30 or 3. Go ahead, get it done. He was great for them. He built an identity for them. I think he's very key to retain, and I think Fred VanVleet is key to retain. Um, I don't think accepting the $44 million player or team option is necessarily a bad thing for them, just because it gives them some type of cost certainty, and then they can get an extension done. Or if they feel they can get an extension done for cheaper, go ahead and get that done now, so you have more flexibility with making trades or in free agency rather than having a cap hold for them. Um, I think go ahead and get those guys back. I think they have options. Reed Shepard and Cam Whitmore didn't play for them this past season, and those are very talented players. Um, they had a ton of depth in that athletic wing type of player, that your Tar Eason, your Jabari Smith,
Jay
your
Sean's
Amen Thompson. Yep, Jason Tate was gonna be the next guy that I would go to. They had a ton of depth there. I think Whitmore more so than Reed Shepard. I would be interested in moving. I think Reed Shepard can be their backup point guard long term. He's a great shooter. I think he's actually a pretty decent defender. Not like a super like no guards are really great impact defensive players, but there are guys who make plays and there's guys that don't. And I think Reed Shepard's a guy that he makes plays. He gets some passing lanes. He's disruptive enough. Even if he's small, I think he can do enough to be a solid 3-and-D backup point guard. Um, and for me, like if because the Phoenix situation is going to be weird. I would monitor that extremely well, and like if Devin Booker is any means available, like you need to get it done. In my opinion, I think Devin Booker is like kind of the perfect fit here. You can start him next to Van Vliet, and like those guys are pretty solid defensively. Booker and Van Vliet are, and then you're gonna have a otherwise great defensive ecosystem around them. And I think Devin Booker's just an upgraded version of Jalen Green. Like he's an actual consistent shot maker. And this is no diss on Jalen Green. This is talking about how good Devin Booker is. Um, and like if we just want to look at their picks, they have Phoenix's pick, in this upcoming draft. They have a Phoenix 2027 unprotected pick. They have a swap with Brooklyn in 2027. They have a Dallas or Phoenix pick in 2029. They get to choose which of it is. They have all of their own picks outside of 2025, I believe. I think Brooklyn currently has their pick. So they have a ton of pick flexibility. They have Phoenix's own picks. Like, Devin Booker needs to be on this team if Devin Booker is available, in my opinion, because then you roll with VanVleet, Booker, Thompson, whoever's starting at the 4. Like, maybe Thompson's still starting at the 4 and Brooks is starting on the wing still. That's probably what it'll end up being. And then you have Şengün, and then that'll be a very solid defensive team. And I think it'll be a good offense as well, because we talk very highly of Şengün and Ben Thompson and VanVleet. I mean, you add Devin Booker to that, I think that's going to be a great offensive starting lineup. I think you hope that Reed Sheppard will develop to be a solid backup point guard. You still have Jabari and Tari Eason to give you good minutes off the bench, and hopefully Steven Adams. And I think that's a good team. If you can keep both Tari and Jabari off your bench, I think that makes it even more reason to do. But I would be comfortable parting ways with one of them, especially if you can bring back Jae'Sean Tate. I mean, what do you have to say on a Devin Booker deal? Or do you like the Durant potentially more for them?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, they do have a lot of wings, so that's where the Durant thing is like, a little interesting because then you have Tari Eason, Jae'Sean Tate coming off the bench. I think Tari Eason started for them last year, not, or at least during the
No.
playoffs. Or am I right on that?
No.
Yeah.
He played a lot, though. He did play a lot.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if they could get Devin Booker, I don't really know what his availability is, but I mean, yeah, that'd be awesome. Give up, give up those picks, give away Jalen Green to get the much better Devin Booker, who has been one of the best shooting guards like in the league for like since I can really remember. He's just been so consistent. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I think
I
that'd be awesome. I just don't know if he's available.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, if they don't get Booker, you'll have to get extensions done on a couple of guys. They already got Şengün and Jalen Green done. Jabari Smith Jr.'s extension eligible. I think that's like kind of one of the weirder extension situations currently. Dylan Brooks is, but I don't think you're in any rush to get a Dylan Brooks extension done. They have Jock Landale, who's an $8 million basically dead salary at the current moment. They can also use to facilitate a trade. Like a ton of different ways to add players. I mean, Aaron Holiday has a $5 million team option that they can decide what they want to do on that. Currently, they're going to have some type of cap allocations, but they can get very flexible if they make a consolidation move. Maybe they sign VanVleet to an extension. They could possibly get it to where they are in position to get a full mid-level exception, potentially even get under the cap for a split second, but not after making a big deal. I would say Houston, like, this kind of does need to be the time for them. I think to add to the roster, because it gets kind of tight once you have the Jabari Smith Jr. extension, and like what do you do with Tari Eason after that? So I think use Jalen Green's $30 million to take a big chunk out of a superstar trade. If Giannis is available, like, yeah, I think you do that even if you do have those wing players. You go ahead and trade for Giannis. That basically does it for what I have to say about Houston. I think next year we should be seeing some big moves that put them in position to compete for a 2 seed again. I hope. Otherwise, I would call it a little bit of complacency.